Hey everyone, I'm in front of St. Andrew's Church near Andreevsky's Descent in Kyiv, Ukraine, and I'm back in one of my favorite cities. It's been years since I've been here. I'm back to give a bunch of talks on my research, which is all ended, and we had, I guess, what was the biggest attack since the beginning of the war, and I just wanted to talk about that, what the experience was, and I very much knew what could happen, what I was getting myself into here. So what basically happens is when there's an air raid, there's two things. So there's an air alert app, and it'll tell you can say like which part of Ukraine you're in, and it'll say when there's some sort of like drones or missiles are coming, something like that. And then you get sirens, and then in the case I was in my hotel, they also have like announcements telling you where to go, just to set the scene. We have a bunch of people selling things here. This is one of the nice touristic parts of Kyiv. We go all the way down to the Podil district. And so there were actually several alarms before this like really, really big attack, and there may be around 7 a.m. or something like that. And the thing is, a lot of people ignore these. So this may seem like kind of strange to people who are watching everything on the news in the West to actually see, for example, this isn't a wasteland. There's still people going about their day, doing stuff and everything. And so there are places that do get destroyed, and my understanding is they fix them up as quickly as they can, I think just to keep everyone's spirits up. Even in Kyiv, they do that. So basically, people have adapted a lot to this. So I know when the war was starting, of course, everyone was very scared. No one knew what was going on. And, you just have some sort of sudden attacks. It's understandable that, okay, you're going to want to get out of Dodge. And for the people that are sticking around, I think it's just such a part of their daily life that it's actually a lot of, it's almost more convenient to ignore them. So there's kind of a couple different things that could happen. There's the drones, and people aren't really, I think call them shaket or something like this. People aren't really that scared of them actually, because apparently they're fairly easy to shoot down. So they do pose a risk, but it's not something that people consider worth necessarily taking time out of their day to deal with. The ballistic missiles, on the other hand, are another story. So there are these Telegram groups in Ukrainian. I can read a little Ukrainian, but not enough to make any sense of this. And they'll often share information that may or may not be accurate about what type of attack is coming, how many, and a bunch of other things. So let me just kind of show where we are right now as well. It is a little bit of a cloudy and a rainy day, but especially on the weekend, you can see all kinds of people just selling all kinds of nice things around here. So this is a district that there's a lot of artwork over there, so a lot of people really like this district. So what happened this very first night, and I think it was maybe around 1 a.m. or something, I forget exactly, but or maybe 12 something. So there was this air raid alert, and I guess I wasn't being too worried, because I think that the attitude that everyone has here is contagious, because I think if everybody is scared, then yeah, I'm going to be scared as hell. But I think just, like I said, people here are so used to it that their attitude rubs off on me. So I'm still going to the shelter, but it's not the same sort of thing as if, they were scared. I just kind of relax a bit and I just go. So what scared me a lot this time, though, was that I heard all these explosions outside. And so you get these explosions. I think they're from either the missiles being taken down, there's some chance that something got hit, or there's also the air defense that shoots off, and that's actually really loud as well. And I didn't know what was going on, and this is the first time I'd actually heard such noises before. And there are all kinds of other flying noises in the air, and my understanding is that there aren't normal planes flying around. If you hear something in the air, unlike elsewhere, you maybe should be worried. There's something going on. So I took that under advice, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get down to the shelter. And I brought some of my stuff. And I didn't think it was gonna last that long. And oh God, it lasted till at least 6 a.m. or something like this, or maybe later. So I was down there, and it's kind of a weird feeling that I had. So was I scared? And no, but I was uneasy, because this hotel I was staying in, the Ibis City Center, it has this bomb shelter that's fairly deep underground. And I think that's why the people here at the ICMU, International Center for Mathematics in Ukraine, what I'm here for, put me in this hotel, because it would be, something fairly safe. for someone as an outsider. And a lot of people have, I think, much worse situations because they're going like in the metro, or some people even just don't bother. They just kind of shelter in their apartment building and stay away from the windows so they wouldn't get hit by any glass. Obviously, that's not perfectly safe, but if you have some, small kids, trying to explain them and get them down to the basement every time is obviously really difficult. So this shelter, it's, I think there were basically 3 places where you could, like, let's say, sleep uncomfortably. And then some people made like kind of fake beds out of 2 chairs. So they would kind of like sit and lay with their feet on the other side and like throw a blanket down there. And I know I can't sleep like that, so I didn't even bother. So I had some work to do, but like I really just, that first night, I'm already even deep down in the shelter. I'm hearing explosions outside. And it's like I said, I wasn't like scared and that I felt like I was in danger, but there is a lot of anxiety, like, what's going on? And so there was a woman there who was updating me on the Telegram stuff and kind of explaining, what all this means, what the different sounds are. And I think that was really helpful for me. And yeah, it was going until something like 6 a.m. I video called like my brother and his daughter, my niece, talked to them for a little bit. And I think I didn't do that any of the future nights because clearly it was annoying people. Some people were attempting to relax, even though I don't think that they really could. And I guess I was making too much noise, so I feel bad about that. But I think it was kind of like my instinctive response was to, say, call family members or friends. And, because of the late time, only people in the U.S. would be up. So this ended and I slept in the shelter. I found like some people started eventually going back up because they were just getting tired of it. So that this is something I noticed that happens, even though you have this like massive air raid and all that. Some people, they just get bored of it and impatient with it. And they're like, screw it, I'm going back up to my room. And even then, like, I guess there's something like, it's supposed to be like 100 guests in the hotel, and like maybe 15, 20 at most were actually in this during this like really heavy bombardment. So yeah, so that's something that I think would be, a little shocking to me to actually, think of that before, that people are just, during this really heavy thing, they're just kind of ignoring it and going back. And I think that's just kind of how you have to survive when you're living this and this is your daily life. So anyways, I slept because someone was sleeping there before, but they went back up. So this one spot cleared up and it was like super uncomfortable, but I could at least sleep there. And I woke up with a really nasty bug bite on my leg. It's fine now, but either way, at least I was safe down there. And the second night, it was, the same thing again. I got a little bit of warning, something like this would probably happen. And I think I was a little bit more prepared in terms of like, bringing like my laptop and headphones and this type of stuff, because the first night I was just frightened of the idea of going back up to my room. I figure, okay, any minute if I go back up to my room, missile could hit the hotel or something. And I mean, this is actually true. There is a real danger. It's not overly likely, but, I just kind of get with the stuff I had there. And the second night, I more or less had some things packed up. I also have this 5-meter extension cord that I used on the train on the way here, and that was really useful. Yeah, see, people just relax, just want to, yeah, so it's okay. It's not I'll show the area again. Yeah, that one's a little dodgy, but we have some nicer stuff around here. You can get some souvenirs. Probably should get some more souvenirs for people back at home. I wonder, you do see a lot of sandbags. These are just out on display, but there are a lot of windows that are covered in sandbags and things. So anyways, where was I at? Yeah, so I have this 5-meter extension cord. I was able to do some math that night. So I did some stuff for my project with Professor Akiyama, and actually got some stuff written up, way more than I was expecting. I used it kind of productively, but not as much as I could have. I still recognized a lot of familiar faces in the shelter, and I think I was less anxious and less paying attention to the sounds. I think, I had my headphones on with noise canceling, and like I was less bothered, but even then there was still some amount of something in the air. I don't know how to say it because it wasn't some sort of fear, but it was just some sort of anxiety of the situation maybe. Yeah, some sort of cat doing something with something here. I'm not even sure what that is. There's some kind of cute stuff on this street in this area. So, and once again, it was like going to bed at 6 or 7, and I think I slept, I don't know. I tried to sleep in a bit, but my body just woke up. I mean, I think it's easier for me as well because I'm a really nocturnal person. If I stay up till 3 or 4, it's not an issue at all for me, although when you're getting to like 6 or 7, it really starts to destroy me. So I wasn't attempting to sleep at all. And the third night, once again, I had a bit of a warning on this. And I want to say actually one thing before that is like, just even after that second night, clearly like, I didn't really want to see things about the war at that point. Like I went to an art museum and there were a lot of exhibits about the war, and I just didn't really want to think about it. I just went to the Jellyfish Museum after that instead because somehow I just wanted to get away from it. I'd had enough. And, I'm only visiting here. I'm not living here. So third night, once again, I had a warning. And this time I prepared, because I figured, okay, now I have the routine now. I know what to bring. I even, I made a video about this a bit. I have ADHD, and I've been just starting a couple months ago to take medication for it. So I timed my ADHD medication, methylphenidate or Ritalin. I timed it for like the time I expected the air raid to start, and it was actually pretty accurate. So that was actually a really productive night, and it was great. So I actually got like a lot of work done, had my office set up. I wasn't really even thinking much about what was going on outside. And this was this always a really big deal because they just kept sending like drones after drones and missiles, and it was like the entirety of Ukraine, as well even Western Ukraine and Lviv. And I thought this is the time Donald Trump called Putin absolutely crazy. I don't know what this is going to lead to. And apparently there's reports of a lot of European countries lifting the restrictions on how far the Ukrainians can send the missiles. So historically, where does this fit in? I don't know. I'm just kind of saying what happened as I'm walking and recording. But after those 3 nights, I mean, I went to give my talk at this ICMU where I'm giving my talks on my research, and like I was, the talk I think went okay, but like it was very clear that I was just not in the best of moods. I wasn't feeling good. And it just was wearing me down. Let me show you guys this mural right here. So I think there's a lot of cool stuff around here, to be honest. I recommend everyone who comes to Kyiv to walk down this. And I want to just say though, if you come here in the winter, there is a very real slipping danger. So be careful where you walk and slide on the snow and the ice. So yeah, and that's where I think a lot of the real danger of this is. So, when I was deciding whether to come to Ukraine on this trip or not, I looked up a lot of statistics. It took me months to really decide on this because, we have a very big emotional reaction. There's, bombs, explosions, all these types of stuff. People die from it. There's buildings you see destroyed. And I have to think like, okay, what's the real danger here versus, say, risks I take in my daily life? So, for example, I looked up the statistics in the U.S. There's something like 150 deaths from car accidents every day in the U.S. And, the U.S. is so car dependent. No one's reporting how much and how crazy this is. And I kind of thought about it like every time I go back to the U.S., I get in a car and I drive. And that risk, it's lower than if you account for, say, the number of deaths and civilian deaths in Kyiv, but it's not so drastically different, to be honest. So what's the real danger here? So it seems to me, they're sending these things at night. There are people that are dying. There's real destruction. But I think a lot of this is intentional, to wear down the people, to make them anxious. And from what I've heard from people that the ones that are always going to the shelter no matter what, these people are becoming broken. Their sleep is being destroyed. They don't have the luxury I do of being able to sleep past noon and going to something later in the day. So this type of thing takes a big toll over a period of time. And I mean, honestly, if I had to stay here, probably I would be ignoring these things as well. I mean, I kind of still find it crazy to even think that I would be, but I think that would be what would have to happen. So yeah, to be honest, okay, like I said, Kyiv, I'm very happy to be here. It's one of my favorite cities. But on the other hand, this has worn me down enough, just even those few nights, that I'm going to be kind of happy to get out of it as well. I would love to come back, and I'm sure I will again, maybe even during this wartime, but I think I can't, normally I come and stay here for a month or something like that, and I think it would be a little difficult to do that. So, but anyways, those are just, my thoughts and what the experience was like. It's probably very different than what you would imagine, being in the, say United States and hearing about the news, what the experience was. It didn't feel like I was in some sort of video game with things blowing up everywhere, but it's really kind of a little bit more of a subtle dread and more just kind of like a wearing down of you. And somehow these distant explosions are like really, really frightening. And I know there's a lot of people that actually even know what all the different sounds are, can figure this one is a drone being shot down, this is something else. And, so I don't know, I just want to show kind of what we're coming up on, because this is the Podil district. This is, so that was the Andreevsky's descent that we came from. And you can go ride the Ferris wheel here. So there's a lot of things that were here. You can be in danger of these cars, like that car there could be more dangerous than one of the missiles if they don't stop. So you can go ride the Ferris wheel here. There's still nice stuff out. This is kind of what I was saying before with windows being blocked up like this. I think this is some sort of children's school or something like that. And I noticed, like I did actually go to one of the places where they still had some destruction left. This was Metro Lukyanivska, I think. I always pronounce that one a little badly. I was there 5 years ago, so I knew what it looked like before. And I could see like what type of destruction was there right now. And like one of the main things you noticed, other than just like some structural damage to the building, is the windows are like blown out. So you can imagine if you don't have some protection against that, like you're in there and you get hit by all the shrapnel and glass and everything like that or whatever, and it's bad. So I think that's been kind of the resort that a lot of people do, is they make sure there's the minimum they'll do, at least, maybe they take the mattress out into the hallway in their apartment. So like if there's some sort of shockwave or blast nearby, they don't get hit by the glass or something like that. So anyways, yeah, I think I'm just gonna end there, and I wanted to give just an honest perspective on what it was actually like in my experience here as an outsider. I think the locals, in all fairness, are much less affected than me by this. And yeah, I'm gonna stop right here and maybe get something to eat. A little hungry, been walking around all day, and I think I'll just kind of relax right now. So anyways, usual, if you like, comment, subscribe, there's going to be more videos, not just from Ukraine, but from some other interesting places. And, I want to show how things actually are here. I don't want to come with any sort of like media bias or agenda or anything. And, this is what Kyiv is now. Other parts of Ukraine are going to be very different. We have a very, very good missile defense system here in Kyiv, but yeah, so after this trip to Kyiv, I'm going to Lviv, going to give some more math talks. And yeah, let me just show the sign of where we are right now, this district of Kyiv. So I love Podil. Ya lublю Podil, I believe. Maybe there's some grammatical thing. I guess the church. See, you still hear the church bell. Like, this is the thing, like these details of everyday life, like, it still feels like Kyiv, it's a little different, but not really that much. So anyways, I'm out, so hope to see everyone in the next video.